It's Fish at 6. Welcome to the Fishbowl. I'm Mike Fisher, your trusty and trusted reporter. The Cowboys with a day off of sorts inside the Star. That gives us a chance to twiddle our thumbs as we begin to look at the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Thank you to BetUS for supporting our program here. And thank you to 72,000 fish heads in Cowboy Nation for doing the same. You can also, of course, get us not only here at the Fish Report, but at cowboyscountry.com. Go click on me, Google me, and go find me at cowboyscountry.com 5 to 10 times a day, please. Mike McCarthy will not be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys next year. He's out of contract. There's virtually nothing that could happen between now and February that would cause Jerry Jones to say, oh my gosh, I've just had a beam of light come through the Miller Lite advertising, as my wife Marcia points out, subliminal. That's right. The light shines through the light. And Marcia makes the point, in Cowboys marketing, nothing's an accident. And I think I might believe her. So no Mike McCarthy for 2025. And we've known that going in. Blow it up, Buttercup, combined with lame duck. Lame duck, blow it up. So we all know where this is going. What's next? I'm going to rattle off a bunch of names of the next Cowboy coach candidates. Most of these are names that will have made some sort of sense to me. By the way, the Cowboys don't have some magical permanent list. Every owner, general manager has in his filing cabinet thoughts, maybe in his head, just like every head coach has thoughts about, hey, if I might hire that guy as an assistant someday, or hey, I really like the way that works. But there's no etched in stone list yet. It's coming. So I'll rattle off names, and I'll just use my own logic to dismiss some of them, to applaud some others, and to shed some light, if you will. Here's a name that nobody except me, I guess, has thought of. Jason Witten, the future Hall of Famer, the legendary Cowboy, iconic Cowboy, a favorite of the Jones family. If you remember, when the Jones family used to go on their family vacations at the beginning of free agency, and they'd go to Turks and Caicos and they'd pose for pictures, the whole family, the grandkids, and they're all wearing white. And there'd be Tony Romo and his wife. What's he doing there? And there'd be Jason Witten and his wife and their kids. They're on vacation with the Jones family. So yeah, Jason Witten is close to the situation. People dream about Tony Romo being a coach. Why would he give up a $20 million a year part-time job to go be a coach? That's nonsense. But Jason Witten is a coach. And in my conversations with Witten over the years, he really thought that there would eventually be no reason for him not to leapfrog to the top. In other words, he thought it made complete sense for him to retire as a player and immediately go and be the head coach at the University of Tennessee, his alma mater. And maybe he's not wrong. Maybe he wasn't wrong. Instead, of course, he decides to coach in high school here in DFW, coach his own sons, and all they've done is win small school state championships in the state of Texas. We hear people talk about how you need to do what Dan Campbell's done. Get an old player that everybody, that people love and respect. If Dan Campbell can coach, Jason Witten can coach. Furthermore, I've said you need a taskmaster. The next coach here cannot be a avuncular. He cannot be professorial only. He cannot be a player's buddy only. He's got to be a hard ass. Jason Witten is one of the cruelest trash talkers in Cowboy history. And that's just at practice. I don't know that everybody knows that. Jason Witten is a tough SOB. And he would be tough on you. He was tough on guys he tried to mentor. And if you didn't, Martellus Bennett, if you didn't like it, you were out. Jason Witten, one of my good names. You heard it here first. Bill Belichick, we all know about. And the reason I think Bill Belichick is, I guess I should be dinging, shouldn't I? Jason Witten, ding. Bill Belichick, ding. Would Belichick really do this? Would Jerry really do that? They wouldn't have been playing footsie as they have. And I'm not talking about they've had secret meetings. I'm saying Belichick drops this hint and Jerry drops it. They've been doing it for a year. If they didn't think that they could do it together, they wouldn't be dropping the hints. If you want the ultimate taskmaster, the guy who would go to Micah Parsons and say, cut the nonsense, get immediate respect. Again, to those who say Jerry would never give up that much power to a coach, he's done it. He's given up power to a coach a great number of times. In fact, for those people who think that Mike McCarthy is a puppet, again, this is the Nationals and the casuals. You have no idea what you're talking about. Ask Mike McCarthy. McCarthy has had more authority here in personnel the day that he moved into his office than he had in 15 years in Green Bay. That's a fact. Also factual. Thank you, BetUS, for being a part of what we do here. Go to betus.com, use the promo code YouTube150 and get your 150% deal off up to $2,000 in your investment. Go get it. betus.com. Ben Johnson. This is going to be one of those cool sunglasses, 5 o'clock shadow guys, and he's earned it. He's earned it. Before getting to the Lions and now with the Lions too. I think he's going to be the next head coach of the Chicago Bears. That's what I think. There was also this thing about he wants $15 million a year. Jerry would never. Again, don't mix your opinions with facts. It can be your opinion that Jerry would never pay that much for a coach. I'm going to remind you that when Jerry signed Jimmy Johnson, he immediately made, I think he made him the third highest head coach in the NFL. And a year later, he was, I believe, as I recall my stories at the time, he was tied for the highest paid head coach in the NFL. Oh, and by the way, the story that nobody else knows except you and me, the way that Jerry slipped him a little extra dough, like $1 million, to help finance Jimmy's divorce. So be careful what you think you know about what Jerry might spend. Brian Flores. I don't see a Brian Flores fit here, but there's no question he accomplishes things, and now he's doing it obviously as the Vikings defensive coordinator. Item. People are putting Lane Kiffin on the list. Lane Kiffin, son of Monty. Monty once had a connection here. I don't think that's a strong enough connection. Lane Kiffin is not part of this tree. And he hasn't, to my knowledge, and I'm not a college football expert, I don't know that he's established something there that would cause him to be able to plow through the fact that he's not on the tree. By the way, what is the tree here? Traditionally, the Cowboys go one of two ways. Either they go, here's an established, some would call him a retread, but he's established. He's done it. That's McCarthy. That's Wade. And that's Parcells. And then the other way they traditionally would do it is somebody that's off the Jones tree, somebody they know, which I'll get to here in a minute, because that is a strong leaning here and should be. Deion Sanders. Here's what's funny about Deion. And actually, there's a lot of things funny about it. One of them is, well, Deion's just going to come here with his son, Shedeur. Is it really that easy? I don't know where Shedeur, the quarterback from Colorado, is going to be ranked in the draft. We don't know where the Cowboys are going to pick in the draft. If the Cowboys pick 11th and Shedeur is the third best player, then that's not happening. Is Deion only going to take the job if one of his guys from Colorado comes here as a player? That doesn't make any up. That's no reason to hire a head coach. Can you end up with Travis Hunter? Dane Brugler thinks he might be the best player in the draft. Fine. I don't even know who the quarterbacks in this draft are hardly besides Shedeur. But every year about this time we think, oh, there's not going to be any. These quarterbacks aren't good enough to be in the first round. Then every year the first, second, and third pick are quarterbacks. That's going to happen again. There's going to be 7 quarterbacks picked in the first round because they always are. If the first 1, 2, 3 picks are quarterbacks, Cowboys don't go that way, and Cowboys have the 4th pick, and they can pick Travis Hunter, fine. But that's in April. They're not going to hire their coach after April. They're going to hire their coach in February. He's going to help them draft. So Deion can't know who's going to end up going to the Cowboys with the 4th pick or the 11th pick. So that's a really dumb connection that's being made here, whether it's for Hunter or Shedeur. Deion, is he going to take this job or not take this job based on the job? Not based on, well, can I bring all my sons there, Jerry? Well, can we draft all my sons and my friends and my... That's not really how it's going to work. Another thing that's funny about it is we got Rex Ryan saying, Deion. We got Stephen A. Smith, both of them on ESPN. Both of them are acting like they invented the idea. The idea of Deion Sanders and the Cowboys has been around for at least 2 years. And then that leads me to the third thing. Deion Sanders, the very first interview he did on the subject of coaching in the NFL and coaching the Cowboys was on this channel. You can find it. And he said, no, I'm not interested in coaching the NFL. I'm not interested in coaching the Cowboys. I'm not saying things can't change. Money can change it. Circumstance can change it. All his kids are leaving Colorado. Maybe it's time. But since he did the interview with us, he's never wavered. He keeps saying the same thing he told us 2 years ago. I don't want to coach in the NFL. I don't want to coach the Cowboys. That doesn't fit me. So I think it's weird that the Rex Ryans or the Stephen A. Smiths, in addition to thinking they invented the idea, I think it's weird that they don't at least include Deion's own words. You have faith in Deion as a Cowboy coach? Fine. What a circus that would be. And maybe he can even coach. You have faith in Deion's words and actions as a coach? That's fine. Why don't you have faith in his words when he says, I don't want to do that? Just make sure you tuck that into your purse as you're thinking about Deion Sanders. Joe Brady, Buffalo Bills. He's not on the tree. He doesn't have experience. Depending on how the Bills go, is he going to be another one of those Ben Johnson hot candidates? Yes. Would I recommend as a Cowboy observer to quit just doing it one of the old 2 ways and look at a third way? Yes. The Cowboys don't habitually look at the sexy young guy. They traditionally look at the sexy young guy who they know, like Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore, offensive coordinator, obviously he's on the tree here, offensive coordinator of Philadelphia. I know there's plenty of Cowboy fans that say, I don't want that. What if he wins the Super Bowl? Does that change your mind? Does it cause the Jerry and Steven group just want to sit down and say, you know, we really did. He really was, and everybody in this building says it. They say it all the time. The smartest guy, he was the smartest guy in the room all the time. People say it about Kellen Moore all the time. That counts for something. Put him on the list. I've got Cliff Kingsbury on my list. First of all, he's accomplishing great things in Washington. And second, he's kind of in the tree. He's a Texas guy. We like those guys here. Right? The 2 greatest coaches in Cowboy history were Texas guys. How about a third? Matt Nagy, Chiefs. He's gonna be on that interview cycle. He's deeply involved in that offense. Now it's weird. That offense with Patrick Mahomes, they're not having their best year in terms of numbers, but they do keep winning. Put them on the list. Todd Monken, Baltimore Ravens. College guy. Doesn't fit. Kirby Smart, Georgia Bulldogs. college guy. Doesn't fit. That's my opinion, by the way. That's not the Cowboys' opinion. You can counter by saying Jimmy Johnson was a college guy. Yeah, I know. 35 years ago, but there was kind of special circumstances. Just between us girls, right? Bobby Slowik. His dad coached here, family. He's at the Texans, defensive coordinator, good. Was with the 49ers, helped run that defense, really good. They know him here. It fits. People are throwing around the name of Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera is a quality guy, would fit the Rooney Rule thing. By the way, so would Al Harris, who will get interviewed here. Al Harris will get interviewed. And again, the Rooney Rule is almost, it's not quite working the way they want it because it almost works like an upside down insult. But Al Harris deserves an interview here. Players coach, not what they need. Ron Rivera, a defensive version of Mike McCarthy, not what they need. And my last name, and maybe my best name. So I want a taskmaster. I don't know that Jerry and Steven see it that way at all. It's too early to really have that conversation, even privately with them, frankly. Offensive hotshot. Some skins on the wall. Jones family member. I don't even know what his record is. Lincoln Kennedy at USC. I don't know what the odds makers say about it, about his name. They got him way too low. They got him way too low. If you think that Lincoln Riley is like a 1 in 3,000 shot to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, I'm telling you right now, you're wrong. You're going to move those odds, Vegas, or you're going to lose it. You're threatening yourself to lose a lot of money. So there's every single reasonable guy that I can think that I would put on my list. I'm sure others will emerge. We're only half the season through. Maybe I'm missing somebody. But between Jason Witten, who nobody's thought about, Deion and Belichick, who's everybody thought about, and Lincoln Riley, who's friends of the Joneses, what did I give you, 13 names? I like my chances. Thank you, BetUS. Thank you to you in Cowboy Nation for being a part of our family here. Breakfast at Fish and These in the morning at 7:20 and Fish at 6 every night or whenever we damn please. Fish.